This month, the GeForce Now cloud gaming service celebrates its 1-year anniversary of officially launching into live. And honestly, it's been a hell of a year, starting with some downs, but working its way back up, in my opinion, to be one of the strongest contenders in the cloud gaming space. But let's start back at the beginning. In case you're out of the loop, what exactly is GeForce Now? GeForce Now is Nvidia's solution to cloud gaming that essentially lets you rent a virtual machine to play select titles from the GeForce Now library. Now, I say rent, but there are currently 2 membership options for GeForce Now. One is completely free, but does limit you to 1-hour play sessions, and more frequently these days requires you to wait in a queue for an available virtual machine, versus the Founders tier, which is currently still at its introductory price of $5 a month, but that does get you unlimited playtime, the ability to jump the queues, and the added bonus of access to RTX hardware, meaning you can enjoy the full ray tracey goodness of games like Cyberpunk. But what exactly is the GeForce Now library? So, unlike some cloud gaming services like Shadow, which gives you access to an entire Windows desktop, GeForce Now is restricted to a library of games supported by the service. But on the flip side, unlike services like Google Stadia, there is no need to repurchase titles that you already own. GeForce Now accesses these titles through existing game libraries like Steam, the Epic Game Store, GOG, and Ubisoft Connect. GeForce Now also has one of the largest free-to-play game libraries of services with this kind of library model, with 80 free-to-play titles currently available, including some heavy hitters like Fortnite, League of Legends, Dota, Warframe, Counter-Strike, Destiny, Rocket League, and many more. So now you're all caught up on the basics, how did this first year go for GeForce Now? So like I mentioned, to start off with, not so great. After launching, it appears Nvidia forgot to cross a few T's, dot a few I's, by which I mean publishers whose games were part of the GeForce Now library had no idea the platform was officially launching into production until, they had already done it, which in turn caused a surge of publishers to start removing their games from the library. Now yes, this was an oversight on Nvidia's part, but greed from some of the larger publishers who were concerned they may be missing out on a payday was also to blame. The good news is, gradually throughout this last year, we've seen the vast majority of these publishers bring their games back to the service, but unfortunately with a few exceptions from larger publishers like Activision Blizzard. Here's hoping 2021 is the year they kiss and make up. One thing I'm happy to say is after that initial blip after its launch, the addition of new games is one area where GeForce Now came out shoulders above the rest in 2020. GeForce Now Thursdays is something users could look forward to, with a new list of titles coming to the platform every week. And when I say list, more often than not, we're talking at least 10 or more games per week. Going into 2021, Nvidia has taken more of a roadmap approach, which I actually really like. They start each month with a giant list of confirmed games being added to the platform, and still manage to hit us with some surprises every GeForce Now Thursday. As of now, GeForce Now has access to 800 titles across the various stores we mentioned previously, again with 80 of those being completely free to play. However, it's definitely worth mentioning, although we talked about the free and Founders tiers, availability has become somewhat of an issue in recent months for GeForce Now. While the Founders tier gives you access to RTX hardware, it's also limited by the number of physical server blades Nvidia can realistically install them in. Right now, in both the UK and US, monthly memberships for the Founders tier are completely sold out, with a limited number of 6-month memberships available. With the growing popularity of the service, this has increased the number of free users, which in turn increases those queue times for free members that we talked about before, as they do not get the priority access included in the Founders tier. And around we go until Nvidia can add more RTX hardware to their databases, which is understandably difficult right now with both the scarcity of GPU hardware and the physical limitations in safely entering data centers to install new hardware. So let's talk about some of the major feature developments we've seen since the launch of the service back in 2020. Starting off with a small quality of life update, which I now couldn't imagine not having, something called Gamesync. Previously, you would have to search through the games available on GeForce Now and manually add them to your library if you owned them through a service like Steam or the Epic Game Store. Gamesync does basically what it says on the tin, allows you to connect to GeForce Now to other game libraries and just hit the sync button to automatically add any new titles you may have bought to your GeForce Now library. At its launch last year, you could access GeForce Now through their app for Windows PC, Mac, or Android devices. Obviously, the major gap there is iOS, and 2020 was definitely interesting to say the least with Apple's approach to cloud gaming services. TLDR, the stance they've taken is, if they can't take a cut of the games being purchased through cloud gaming services, then they just won't allow these services to put their app on Apple's App Store. Their thinly veiled olive branch, however, was to allow cloud gaming providers to stream their services through the browser on iOS devices. GeForce Now launched their version of this in November last year, and you can check out my full review right here. Honestly, after kind of a hit and miss experience with their Windows application, I did not have high hopes for what is essentially a workaround to get this service onto iOS, but dear God was I wrong. I was a completely new level of impressed, being able to play brand new titles with ray tracing on a crappy iPad over Wi-Fi with no notable latency, pixelation, screen tearing, audio stuttering, none of the worst symptoms that come along with cloud gaming. One device which has kind of exploded in popularity in the last year is Chromebooks. With more people working and learning from home, Chromebooks were the ideal choice as they're relatively cheap, easy to use, but they're also a great candidate for cloud gaming machines. Recognizing that, GeForce Now was one of the first services to add official Chromebook support. Because why work or learn when you could be playing games? And finally, one publisher who's consistently supported all cloud gaming platforms is Ubisoft, or Ubisoft if you want to get technical. And GeForce Now is no different, being integrated with the Ubisoft Plus membership. This is a $12.99 a month subscription, which gets you access to over 100 Ubisoft titles, including brand new releases. This means you're able to connect your GeForce Now account to your Ubisoft Plus subscription and gain access to stream a large majority of that back catalogue and all new titles which are being added to GeForce Now as day-and-date releases. A great example of the value of this was towards the end of last year when, within the space of 1 month's payment, I got access to Watch Dogs Legion, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Immortals Phoenix Rising, and was able to stream all of them to any of my devices using GeForce Now. This makes it a fantastic option for people on a budget. Let's say you pay $5 for the Founders tier, if it's available, and $12.99 a month for Ubisoft Plus. That's $18 to play any of these games with ray tracing on any of your devices, instead of paying hundreds of dollars to buy the games individually, where you would have been limited to the one device, PC or console, and obviously you would have needed the hardware powerful enough to run them in the first place. And one final point is services like the Epic Game Store, who have consistently been giving away weekly free games, and GeForce Now has promised to add those titles day-and-date releases as soon as they become available on the Epic Game Store, which essentially allows you to build up a library of PC games which can be streamed through GeForce Now without spending a penny. All in all, despite a few bumps in the road, it's been a very good first year for GeForce Now, but what would we like to see in the coming year? Of course, we've talked about availability. We understand the current roadblocks preventing more Founders tier from being available, but yeah, top of the list, more Founders tiers. Next, here in 2021, it seems like there's only two real ways to experience a 30 series GPU: kidnap a scalper or sell a kidney. So adding a new tier with access to something like the 3080 or the 3090 cards is definitely something on my list, and I would like to see come to GeForce Now in 2021. A new tier seems like something they'll need to add eventually just to be grammatically correct, because you can't be a founder 3 years into a service. You just haven't earned that right. So that is the state of GeForce Now here in 2021 and officially 1 year into the service's launch. But now I'd like to hear from you. Do you use GeForce Now? If so, what do you think of the service? If not, why not? What do you think of the pricing, the specs, the library selection, their availability issues? Any and all thoughts? Let me know in those comments down below. But if you enjoyed this video, you found it somewhat helpful, a like rating would be appreciated. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next video. Hope everyone's staying safe out there, and as always, I shall see you in the next one.